What's up, my people? Good afternoon. I am back. Good afternoon, all my kings and queens, all my boys and girls, children of all ages, man. I hope y'all all have had a blessed Tuesday so far, even though it's not over. Salute to all of y'all. I am back in the building. Yes, sir, sir. Welcome back, or welcome to the No Duck Zone podcast. Yes, home of real conversations. Salute to all y'all. I hope all of y'all are having a blessed and great Tuesday, wherever you at. Some of you might be on the beach. Some of you might not be. Might be in the casino. Might be doing your last cookout. Whatever you. Shout outs to you, and peace and blessings to everybody. Um. Oh wait. Okay. Thought I got a message or something. So yeah. We are back. Earlier. For those who don't know, if you're new here, we do morning. So earlier at 8 o'clock every morning, we have our morning chop up, and then get to the boxing in the afternoon. So now we are on. We always brag about the fellas, but I had to get back to the ladies. This woman that we're getting to right now, I've got to her before, so this will probably be my second time getting to her. She has a fight coming up, I believe, in October. It was told to me, but Mikaela Mayer, if I'm saying her name, it's kind of Mikaela Mayer. It's kind of hard sometimes to say her name. Who has a fight coming up? I forgot her name. Um, I'm going to come back to talk about her again before her fight, but I figured, why not do it now? Um, really much to talk about in boxing. Let's just keep it real. So, least we can do is get on our ladies. I probably won't be up here for much longer than I'm supposed to, unless my pops up. Other than that, I'm going to speak my piece, and then I'll be off. So let's get to it. My newcomers, my regulars, everyone, welcome to the No Duck Zone podcast. Let's go. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Um, don't be afraid to hit that smash, the smash the like button. Don't be afraid to subscribe to the channel. I do it here, you know what I mean. And anything I say, if it don't apply, let it fly. No, we just keep it real over here. Player who's at welterweight. Interesting. I was just watching a whole wheel on Mikaela on YouTube about the different fights that she has had. Um, Pretty damn impressive. I never got to finish actually watching all her fights, but she has come a long way. Um, and a lot of people like to criticize her or have something to say because of the fight with her and Alicia Baumgartner, which I wanted to see her and Alicia Baumgartner. And for some interesting reason, I still want to see her and Alicia Baumgartner run it back. And I would love to see them run it back in New York, to see them run it back. I can't say Jake Paul. I don't know how that would go for Mayor. Love to see them run it back in New York. Because the fight that they had the first time wasn't even in America. So neither was on home field. They were away. Mikaela Mayer, from watching some of her fights, especially the woman, I should say, she's a woman, comes out and gives it all. She had a fight that I was watching with this foreign girl, and it was just a back and forth. And shout out to like I said, when I come back here, I'm gonna bring them up. I was watching the other day, but my mind just slipped, y'all, because today I was just start studying stuff, and then I get off it because my mind gets on other stuff. But I'm gonna talk about Mayor. But while we're here, I want to just acknowledge and respect how her craft and what she brought to the table. Even when I look at what's that, the Randy with the Sandy fight, when I look at that, and Sandy, shout out to Sandy. I want to see her back in there too. Sandy brings a lot to the table. I want to see Sandy back in there. But even watching those fights, from the first fight, one. Now the second one, I have to go back and watch over again. Because there's, like I said, there's that I tend to miss that I didn't catch the first time. But when we look at Mikaela Mayer, we're looking at somebody who's not going to back down from a fight, who brings it and leaves it all on the ring. I've said before that women's still doesn't get the recognition that it needs. I feel women's boxing doesn't still get the respect that it needs, even with Jake Paul doing what he's doing. I still feel like there's a lot of people who don't believe. And it's okay though, because you will soon if not. A lot of you guys are fans of how these female fighters look, but not fans on how they perform. If that makes any sense. So I noticed that when I see that you're still not respecting the craft. When we look at Maya and we look at what she's doing now, and we go, who's out there for her? And I remember entertaining the whole, and I was going to come back. I'm going to come back to this too, entertaining the whole thing with her, Carissa Shields. I'm not going to entertain it now. I want to wait to come back to entertain that because it was in the air and it's no rumor. You heard Carissa say something about it. Okay, let's say something about it. So we don't need none of y'all to go, that's fantasy or it was just made up. Even if the fight doesn't happen, it wasn't fantasy. Both spoke on it, but we're going to speak on that. But when you look at Mikaela, and she has another fight coming up, believe in October. My man Cam just told, I believe he said October. I don't know if he said the 25th. It was a date that he gave me that Mikaela was coming back. We know Gabrielle Fedora will be back the 20th. We'll be coming back to talk about Gabrielle probably next week. So next week we'll be back to talk about Gabrielle. And I believe Crawford and Spencer's next. Crawford and Canelo's next week. Am I not, ladies and gentlemen? So we're gonna get to that next week. BC, I see you. What up? So we're gonna get to that. Yeah, because believe Canelo, Crawford's next week. A lot of y'all have drugged that. A lot of y'all have drugged that where it ain't much to talk about. So we're gonna get to that next week. If a lot of people want to know why I haven't talked about it, because I was waiting the fight week. Some of y'all done drugged that so damn much. It ain't much that y'all could say next week that y'all haven't said for the last 2-3 months. But Mikaela Mayer is something special, and sitting back, and I'm going to go back to watching her fights because we're going to come back to talk about her. That's right. We're going to come back and talk to her again. Probably fight week, we're going to bring it up. As soon as I can get her other opponent, because I should have looked at her other opponent and I didn't. But that's why we're going to come back to talk about her. But Mikaela Mayer is one of those kind of like, you know how Roddy Piper was doing? Fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. That's what Mayer reminds me of. A woman who's anybody at any time. And like I said, I would love to see her and Alicia Baumgartner get it on again, but I understand that it's not going to go back So we have to move on from that. But who knows if we anything's possible. If the money's right, who knows? It can happen in boxing. But after she does what she does with her opponent, she gets past that. I'm interested to seeing what happens with her next because the higher she goes, it gets interesting. And there's some ladies there. We know once you get 75, it's heavyweights. She's at what? Welterweight? So what is she, 47? So there's 2 or 3 weight classes to go before she can get to where it is that she needs. I'm anxious to see how that plays out with her. And I don't know much about her opponent, which when I do come back to talk about her, I don't want to just talk about Maya. I want to talk about actually her opponent because sometimes when you just show one person respect, and because you don't know who the other person is, you're not acknowledging them, and that's dangerous at. So when we come back here, um, that's who I want to get into it about her. I could have did that now, but I didn't bother to look up her opponent. So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I know about her opponent when I know I don't. I know absolutely nothing. I know the name, I've seen the name, but I don't know of her. So when we spin the block and we come back, we're going to talk about her opponent. But I like Mikaela, and I really became a fan of her in the Sandy fight. The Sandy fight was when I was like, you know what? I like this girl. And even though watching her and Alicia Baumgartner fight, I was going for Alicia. I was going for Alicia. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people felt like even in that fight, Maya won. People are entitled to their own opinion, but unless we get a rematch, the results are what they are, and nothing's going to change off of people's feelings. So you can feel like this person won or that person won, but at the end of the day, when the decision is made, it's made already. But um, I'm not gonna be long with y'all. I'm not gonna lie. This is gonna be a short live. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm looking to get some watch time, but this is going to be a short live because I'm really tired, y'all. And if I would have got this over with yesterday, I probably wouldn't be back here today. We'll be talking something different. So I need to make up for yesterday. But and when we do come back to talk about Mayo, we're gonna bring up all the women who are in that division. See, because we can't just talk about one person and think about and say what we think about them and who we want to see them fighting. That's it. We got to start going down the list of fighters who are in that division. So when we come back, and we're gonna do it all the time, not just with the ladies, with the fellas. I could have been did that, but like I said, there's a lot of things I don't focus on because that's just me, not because I don't. When we come back for Gabriel Fedora, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna come back with a list of people in this division and who we think could be a potential opponent. It's only right that we do that because um, there's somebody always out there looking to spoil you whatever plans because we look past certain fighters because we don't know of them or we don't acknowledge them like that. But there's always a fighter that can spoil your plans because you want to see these two fight and it don't go that way because a fighter has spoiled your plans. Hold on, y'all. What's this? Hold on. Give me a second. Okay. So with this fight coming up with Mikaela Mayer, I'm glad we haven't seen her since September 27th, 23rd of last year. So it's been um, a little minute, but she's back. When I looked at everything she went through with the, people go, what do you think about the changing of her camp and the people that was training her and this and that? I don't get involved in all that. I don't really care about all that because that has nothing to do with me. The changing of the trainers and this person was in her corner at one time and now they're not. That's personal stuff. I don't get involved in that. Good afternoon, y'all. Smash the like button. I don't get involved in too personal stuff where a fighter leaves a trainer and now the question is why did the fighter leave the trainer or why did the trainer leave the fighter? Whatever the case may be, this is a business and people are gonna do whatever they think is best for them. That's just how the sport of boxing works. Um, should it go like that? It is what it is. People are gonna make the best decision. Um, but when I look at Mikaela Mayer, I go, it's something special about her. But who knows? We all might look up one day and that big fight might happen. Now you're thinking, what big fight are you talking about? I think some of y'all know exactly what big fight that I'm talking about. And we're gonna be back to talk about that big fight. Um, y'all probably think that that's not a big fight. That's easy work for the other girl, but we can't always look at it like that. Stephen Brown, what up? What up, Brown? What's up? So, and these girls come out and they fight their ass off 24/7. So there's never should be a time where we're not interested in seeing them because some of these female fighters fight better than your male fighter. Than some of your favorite fighters. Salute. So we need to be mindful of that. So when I come back, we're gonna do, like I said, we're gonna do Mikaela again. When I come back, when they get close to her fight, and we'll have we'll have some things on her opponent because I don't know much about opponent. We're gonna come back and do her opponent. We're gonna come back and do potential other people in her weight class. This was all just to take, to get away from all the other stuff that's going on in boxing that y'all want to keep talking about, that y'all don't want to step away from. And then when you look at Mikaela Mayer, nobody's going to talk about her coming up. Gabriel Fedora, fight coming up. You think anybody's going to really talk about it? It's going to be a small portion of people. You know why? Because when September 20th come and all these other dates come, you guys are going to still be arguing about what happened with Crawford and Canelo. No matter how that turns out, when it's fight week and it's time for other fighters to fight, instead of y'all focusing on the fight that week, you're going to still be arguing over Canelo and Crawford, which I don't participate in because I'm not getting paid for either one that wins. So Gabriel Fundora, Mayer, everybody else is fighting, this month and next month. Um, is what we need to be paying attention to. And respectfully, when their fights is over, we move on to the next. That's how I look at it. And it's kind of hard to do a full live on the WBO title holder. It's kind of hard to do that and not know who the opponent is. But like I said, we're going to come back for that. Jason Allen, what's up, my brother? Smash that like button. We're going to be back to do that. But I want this. This is what I like to do. I don't like to just um, talk about what belt a fighter holds or what opponent I want to see them. A lot of times it's just giving a flower. This is a channel who gives fighters their flowers, not kissing their ass. It's a difference. So even if I'm not knowing who their next opponent is or who's in a weight class, what belts they hold, because there's so many belts, but it's all about giving them their flowers, why they are here. So a lot of these topics is just for that. Now we can, I mean, if somebody else comes in the chat and they goes, "Hey man, I know about her opponent. Let's talk about it," or I know people that's in that weight class. I go, "All right, well, come on, let's talk about it. That's what we're here for." I'll never shut anybody down. Only time I shut you down is if you bring in somebody from another weight class that ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about, or you bringing up a fight that ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about. Which that's what a lot of y'all like to do. You like to disrupt channels with that kind of nonsense because you don't want to hear what people's talking about. You figure the conversation is not worth talking about, so let's go and let's talk about this, which it doesn't work like that. But like I said, I talked about Mikaela Mayer before, and she's one of my favorites. One of my favorites, hands down. Um, and I'm sure there's a lot of talent in her weight class. Just because we're not members, she had to move up to that weight class. So the more you move up, the better. It's better for you because you're challenging yourself. Remember, she was at 35. She came a long way, and I hope she continues to grow in the sport, moving up in weight. Because, like I was saying earlier, when D3 was up here, some fighters um, force themselves to stay at their weight. Like they'll kill themselves to make the weight, and at some point, your body's going to tell you, "I can't make this weight anymore. I can't train like this anymore." Whatever the case may be, and that you have to work out something different. But Mikaela is special in different ways. She brings a lot, something different to the table that I see a lot of other ladies don't bring. And I'm not talking about heart because a lot of ladies bring heart. Katie Taylor brings heart. Amanda Serrano brings heart. Alicia Baumgartner brings heart. Um, Carissa Shields brings heart. You look at so many of them, they all bring heart, but they everybody also has something different that they bring to the table that it outshines everybody else, and that's what makes the women's boxing very special, where you could learn something. That's why I like watching. That's what I get a kick out of. I love sitting back and just watching the different things that the ladies can do in the ring that I don't see fellas do. That I see a lot of fellas lack on. And a lot of these women don't just come on and put on the show. They put on a great performance. And as fans, as content creators, we are never let down, and we're not really disappointed um, when we see these fights. It's not much for us to complain about because we get exactly what it is that we're coming for. And even if we don't, we still end up having a great show. You know, hopefully we can see more women's cards, more women's, not pay per view. We just need to see more women's cards. You see what Jake Paul's doing. Who knows if we end up seeing Mayo on that? We don't know. We can't say what'll happen in the future, but because we already know that she has the relationship with Top Rank, Mayo. And nobody's trying to come in between that. But hopefully we can catch her on one of those most valuable promotion cards. Against who? I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I can't speak. I have to sit up and look at some things and look at some fighters in that division, And then, like I said, Mayor's getting ready to fight, and we're going to be back again to talk about her just as well as we're going to be back to talk about Gabrielle Fedora. I spoke about her before. Going to come back again to get into it about her. But Mayor's WBO title holder. She held other titles, and hopefully she'll hold some more titles in the future. But the whole point of this live wasn't just to talk about her. It was to give her the flowers, but to also to give women's boxing their flowers. So I know you probably wanted to break down or how you think her next fight's gonna go with such and such, or what do you think about such and such in her division? I'm gonna come back to that. See, there's a difference. A lot of y'all are, and there's nothing wrong with breaking down fights, but sometimes you just want to give the person their flowers while they're here. It's not always about breaking down the fight, and I'm not mad at nobody that's doing it. I'm not mad at nobody that's doing it. I can't be mad at you. Who the hell am I to get mad at y'all for that? I'm about just giving somebody their flowers. A lot of times y'all don't want to hear that. Y'all want to hear about a person's boxing style. You want to hear about this and that and the third. I mean, all that is cool, but I just like to give the person they just do and their respect, and I'm going to continue to do that. So I just wanted to let the people know that I'm not up here to stay up here for an hour. Um, it's gonna be like that sometime where you see me come back for an hour, might see me come back 30 minutes, you might see me come back for 45. I know watch time is very important, but also me sitting back, relaxing, and just putting out the content is important. The watch hours may not always be where you want it to be, but you just putting out content, whether if it's 25 minutes or 40 minutes, is important because everybody's not going to be able to go 2, 3 hours live, and that's understandable. But I will be back. And there's a lot of stuff coming up. We got, like I said, Crawford, Canelo um, next week, and that will be the first time I actually be talking about it. I think I made some comments about it, but I've never actually gotten into a deep conversation about it. I know a lot of y'all are gonna go hard on it. Once I put that as a thumbnail, I can expect everybody to go crazy because that's what y'all all waiting for anyway. But the only thing about it is I'm not going to participate in the craziness. It doesn't make any sense because it doesn't get me anywhere and it doesn't do anything for me. If you know, you know, so you don't have to do. You don't have to necessarily do all that. Once again, shout out to Mikaela Mayer. I wish I can get on her, man. I wish I can get her on the show. Maybe I need to look into that. That would be nice if I can do that. If I could do that, that would be hard, man. That would be a blast. But I'm gonna. I got some work and I'm trying to do. So we're gonna see how that happens. But shout out to her. Shout out to her team. Shout out to her opponent that we'll be back here to talk about. I'm gonna actually look up her opponent tonight. So when we come back, it'll all make sense. We want it to all make sense. We don't want to be. Well, this was a whack live because he didn't really say nothing in the live. Okay, well, I mean, you didn't understand what I was saying, then that's your business. I was giving her flowers about how great she is and the fights that she had with Alicia Baumgartner and Sandy and a lot of other opponents that I was just sitting earlier on when they was running the marathon, the fighters. I just sat there and watched about 2 or 3 fights where she just dominated. Yes, she got hit with it. Some people will say, you know what, she can't fight Carissa Shields. There's been too many fights where she's got hit. What is she gonna do if Carissa fights her? What is she gonna do when Carissa comes at her? I already know what you're thinking. I've seen fights where she's got hit, and even though she has responded, Those are girls in the same weight class as her. What is she gonna do with somebody like Carissa Shields hit her? What would she do if somebody like Shadeja Green hit her? What is she gonna do if somebody like Franchon Cruz hit her? Savannah Marshall. What is she gonna do when them type of girls like that hit her? Hey, we don't know. We don't know. We don't have a clue. I guess we have to sit back and see if it even goes that far. So we'll see though. That's all I got for y'all, man. Sorry. No, y'all probably will want more. Not today. Or at least not at this moment. I'm tired. I want to sit back with my missus and kick it. But I wanted to make this up for yesterday. I probably would have stayed on longer yesterday had I not had my emergency. This probably wouldn't be a discussion today. But we'll be back once again. The closer it gets to her fight, we'll be back to talk about her opponent, the women in her division, and maybe her future opponent, Miss Shields. We're gonna get into that and see how that all works. But listen, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Check me out in the morning chop up, and then I'll be back tomorrow afternoon to probably talk some more boxing. Right? Y'all know what it is. It's the No Duck Zone podcast. Let's go.